stand on it all.
Of course we need the Royal Mail. I should say your intro broke my heart when you're talking about birthday cards, because it is my birthday tomorrow.
Oh, Peter.
Anyway, let's talk about Royal
But there
Mail.
you go. Well, I was going to be really harsh to say when you don't get any birthday cards, but what I meant was if you don't get any birthday cards, you can sit there and think, it's not because no one likes me, it's because there's a strike. You'd feel really good, because I always want loads of birthday cards. I never get them. And I always think, am I a bit unpopular? But you'll have an excuse this time. You'll say, it's not me, it's the posties.
I'm not looking for excuses. But anyway, let's talk about Royal Mail.
Yes, let's.
I don't think it will help to break it up. You know, last time Royal Mail was privatised, there wasn't a good deal for taxpayers. Of course, Royal Mail has to modernise a bit, but I would defend Royal Mail workers' right to strike. And I think earlier at the top of the show, you said something to the effect of, will unions be the death of Royal Mail? But unions...
Union demands, I guess.
but unions are just employees. And I think the idea that employees will be the death of the postal service is nonsense. They're the people that go out, and yes, there might need to be one or two changes in the way they work, but they're the ones that go out in the middle of winter. They report to work at 5 a.m, as I did when I had a brief stint as a postman many years ago. You know, they're out 12 months a year in all weathers. And I don't think... Clearly, there's a lot of competition from people like Parcelforce and Amazon, but the idea of having a failed privatisation, one would then consider a merger with an element of the private sector further eroding both workers' rights and customer service. It is completely daft. And ultimately, a private sector organisation, because of the law, will be answerable to shareholders, and we want good quality public service.
But don't you worry that some of the demands are quite restrictive on... Because ultimately, all businesses, whatever you are, if you want to survive in a changing market, you have to be able to evolve. And if you've got something that is restricting you from evolving, ultimately it's not going to end well for anybody, whether that's the organisation or the people that wish to remain employed in that organisation. So when I ask, will their demands be the death of the organisation, we saw it, for example, in P&O, that decided that actually I can't be bothered to engage with the unions, I'm never going to get my wishes past them, so I'll just kind of sack everyone off and start again.
Well, P&O broke the law, so it wasn't P&O workers that brought down P&O. P&O, well, I shouldn't say, sorry, it's still trading, but reputationally, it wasn't P&O workers that brought down P&O. It was illegal axing of many staff.
But P&O made a decision to create a massive business transformation and leapfrog the unions because they felt, rightly or wrongly, I'm not here to judge and get into legalities of that, but rightly or wrongly, that business felt that actually the transformation we need to make to thrive as an organisation will be restricted by the unions. We're not going to meet anywhere. They're going to be unrealistic. We might as well just sack it all off.
And P&O admitted within days of doing that they'd got it wrong.
But don't you worry that more businesses will do that? So I'll give you an example. Royal Mail, one of the things that they wish to do is extend the working hours. So rather than deliveries finishing at 4 p.m, finish at 5 p.m. I quote, apparently, the CWU said that is outrageous. Is it?
Well, it depends on the start time of that person's shift, but let's put the ball back into the court of the people that run the Royal Mail, which is their managers and ultimately who are answerable to the board. So they could... One thing is you're asking people to work longer, and clearly Communication Workers Union are very concerned about that. But there's nothing wrong with hiring additional staff and investing in a good quality public service rather than purely...
But this is a business that loses £1 million a day. The UK side of it loses £1 million a day. So when you're saying you could invest in more staff to cover this extension of the working day, I just kind of worry, where do people think they're going to get this money from to invest in that new staff, that staff force?
Well, I should say briefly, and I know you kind of want to go down the table, but there are... Royal Mail is absolutely huge. I can't remember the market capitalisation, but it's got more than 100,000 staff. So... We're not talking about working an extra hour, bankrupting the Royal Mail. We're talking about wholesale reform of the Royal Mail. And should that be top-down or should that be through consultation?